Under the Speaker's announced policy of January 5, 2011, the gentlewoman from the Virgin Islands, Ms. Christensen, is recognized for 60 minutes as the designee of the Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And this evening, the Congressional Black Caucus is pleased that our Democratic leadership has given us the opportunity to once again come to the floor for the first Democratic hour this evening. I want to just talk a little bit about some of the people who came and visited me in my office in my district this morning. I had a visit from AARP leadership and some of their advocates and volunteers this morning in my St. Croix office. They came to bring this petition to the office, signed by hundreds of people just on one of my islands. And it says, "Dear members of Congress, seniors and future retirees earn their benefits after a lifetime of hard work and paying into the system. Yet some members of Congress from both parties are considering harmful cuts to Medicare and Social Security." I know nobody in the Congressional Black Caucus is considering those kinds of cuts. As a part of a deal to pay the nation's bill, a deal that could dramatically increase health care costs for seniors and future retirees, threaten their access to donors, hospitals, and nursing homes, and reduce benefits checks they rely on to pay their bills. Instead of cutting the benefits of seniors and future retirees, Congress should be reducing wasteful spending and closing tax loopholes. Instead of shifting more health care costs to seniors, Congress should be working to hold down health care costs for everyone, as the Democrats worked very hard to do last year when we passed the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act. And so these undersigned are calling on us to oppose any deal that would make harmful cuts to the Medicare Social Security benefits Americans have been working on for all these years. And this is just the beginning, Mr. Speaker and colleagues. There'll be more of these petitions to come. Some of the participants that came to my office this morning are Aloma Peters, Lucy Rodriguez, Elizabeth Toruela, Nicholas Encarnacion, Luz de Sierra, Theodora Moorhead, Ann Thomas, Ellarine Batiste, Joan Saki, Miguel Ramos, Ramon Tacagnes, Doris Brown, Paul Simmonds, Denyce Singleton, Jenny Dargan, and Lumos Ayala, but representing the hundreds of people that sent this petition to the Congress of the United States. You know, in my district, and they talked about this morning, we have one of the highest utility bills in our country, and they're just trying to figure out what they would do if their Social Security checks were not coming to them next month. But, you know, a default is not just catastrophic for individuals on Social Security, it would be catastrophic for everyone. It's catastrophic for our nation and our economy. The poor, of course, would lose their safety net and the ability to pull themselves out of poverty, the help that they need. And the middle class will also pay a price. It would be so catastrophic that mortgage payments would increase by over $1,000 for the average family. Credit card interest would increase by $250 for the average family. Families could pay an additional $182 per year on utilities. I'm sure our utilities in the Virgin Islands would be much higher than that. And families could pay an additional $318 per year on food. They could lose thousands of dollars in their retirement savings. We are so proud and honored to have a leader like Leader Nancy Pelosi, who has represented us in all of the discussions at the White House and has stood strong for Democratic priorities and kept the voices of House Democrats and the interests of the American people on the table. We have heard of two different proposals that are coming forth this evening. It's interesting that Speaker Boehner has brought forth a proposal with still no tax hikes. We were never talking about tax hikes, Mr. Speaker. We were talking about letting the temporary Bush tax cuts for the wealthiest Americans expire, as they were always intended to expire. His proposal speaks about entitled reforms and savings. I just read the letter from the AARP, the petition, at least in part, which calls on us to save Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Yet, the Republican proposal would include entitlement reforms and savings. And again, here comes the balanced budget amendment, a budget amendment that would be required before the end of the year. And then a short-term lifting of the debt ceiling, something that will not bring the stability to our economy and that would still put our credit in the world at risk. It says it's a two-step approach to hold President Obama accountable. Is that what this is all about? Or is it that we're trying to restore the good faith and credit of this nation? Their two-step approach to hold President Obama accountable? I don't think he needs to be held accountable. He's been a good president, and he doesn't need us to help him be accountable. They have cuts. They want cuts that exceed the debt hike, the hike in the debt ceiling. I think that's a new one. I thought originally we talked about having a balance between the lifting of the debt ceiling and the cuts. Caps to control future spending. Well, we know what that would mean. All of the programs that our communities, the communities that we represent, would lose funding for programs that they need. Again, here comes the balanced budget amendment, entitled reforms, and of course, no tax hikes. Now, I've been joined by several of my colleagues, and I'd like them to join in this special order if they are ready at this point in time. And I'm always pleased to be joined on these Monday evenings by the gentlelady from Houston, Texas, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. And we're glad to yield to her such time as she might consume.
I thank the gentlelady from the Virgin Islands, and let me thank you for persisting in discussing these issues with our colleagues. You have been determined, and your leadership